Hey, welcome to the Mod Golf YouTube channel. I'm Colin Weston, and today my guest is Tom Naramore, who is the CEO of D3Golf.com. And I had an awesome conversation with Tom on our long form audio podcast. Really want to encourage you to go have a listen to that. And we're going to make sure we're not going to double down and have the same questions, because why would you go bother listening to what we just talked about? It would be the same thing. So we're going to mix it up, keep it a little bit fresh here. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get Tom on screen here and see how he's doing. Oh, he's got the branding already. He knows his branding with D3 Golf we're going to get into. So hey, Tom, hey, good to see you again. How's it going?
Hey, great, Colin, man. That was a lot of fun on the podcast. Hope people go check it out. That was a good conversation. Lots of fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that too. So we really focused on the here and now, what you're building, sprinkled in a little bit about your backstory in the past. So on this conversation, I do want to dig into more as your entrepreneurial journey, what you've done in the past. We can talk a little bit about D3 and the experience of that. So let's start with that. Because with entrepreneurship, it's not a straight line. It's all over the place. And you've had your ups and you've definitely had your downs. So even though you talked about your aha moment with D3 on the podcast, so we're going to leave that there. But talk about as an entrepreneur and even what you did early on, maybe some other business ventures, things you learned that worked, things that didn't work that have helped inform you, kind of bring you to the point of creating over the last 3 years with D3 Golf. So tell us about some of those things, those satisfying successes and those epic failures.
Right. What's the old adage that your greatest skill or whatever is your Achilles heel, right? In life, ever since I was a little kid, I've always been out front, wanted to lead, wanted to be speaking, wanted to be the guy with the microphone, wanted to be the team leader, the one that built the team, right? And I'm talking from childhood, would be T-League baseball or whatever, man. I always had more enjoyment and did better when I was out in front in the lead, right? Sort of driving forward and pulling teams along with me. And that's been my curse. I am the world's worst follower employee, right? I've been an employee in my past a few times, and just, after a short space of time, I've just been miserable. Which is the sicknesses in and of itself, right? Because my poor, lovely wife has put up with me now for over 2 decades of entrepreneurship with the hero to zero type of lifestyle and starting new ventures and growing them. And some do good and some don't, as we talk about. So I'm married to the right person, number one, but just for my own psyche, man, I love to create, put teams together, use my ability, my sort of community to reach out into and figure out what I don't know and find those answers and push forward. And it's what I enjoy most. So that's what I do with my 2 companies now and what I've done my entire career. The coolest thing, I guess I should say, or at least the foundation to D3 Golf, I found myself being the acquisitions manager for a .com back pre-bubble, right? And so I got to run around the country and purchase companies for them. And so when I was riding airplanes, I got a big kick out of this, but people would ask me what I did for a living, and I would tell them that I was a professional golfer. And me being 5'6" and not very athletic looking, they would turn their head sideways, and because it wouldn't equate, and we'd get a kind of a giggle and a laugh and said, no, I get paid to play golf. And so ever since that ended in 2003, I've been trying to figure out how to get paid for golf again. And so it looks like I figured it out again, and we're having an absolute ball. So
there we go. Well, I'm doing the same thing. My background in architecture, that's what I went to school for. I spent over 20 years, the first half of my career doing that. And I just got to the point where I want to do things that are more fun. I kind of learned a ton in architecture, and it's really set the foundation of giving me the skills and part of my secret sauce. And it sounds like your past has done the same thing, but I'm to the point now, it sounds like you are too, Tom, that I consider myself unemployable. I don't think I could probably get a real job anymore. So we're the misfits that whether it's our curse or our fate or our gift, that this is what we now do for our life and for our living here. So hey, why don't we why don't we drill down into D3 golf? Or probably our viewers are like, what the heck is this D3 golf? So I'm going to give you the stage here because I didn't let you do it last time, but give us the elevator pitch for D3 golf.
Yeah, it is the first peer-to-peer skills challenge wagering platform out there right now for the game of golf. And when I say the game of golf, there are a couple of other apps that will let you play some other online games, some esports stuff, and wager back and forth a little bit, but nothing for the game of golf. And so we have our own internal wallet. You can play on the same course with your buddies, but the coolest thing, or at least we think so, you can play on different courses within 2 weeks of each other. I play my uncle every week. He's in Georgia and I'm in California. The app takes care of all the math and sends the winnings to the winner. So automatically. So that's it in a nutshell. It's its own platform. It's free to download, d3golf.com, and have fun with it. You can load your wallet and start wagering against your buddies on a side game of golf, be it Nassau, Skins, Stableford. We've got a bunch of games in there. So yeah, have fun with it.
Oh, I love this. Love this. And what I love about what you're doing here and what you've harnessed is the convergence of so many other things that some are in golf, some are in other industries, whether it's virtual or online sports betting that's just growing between FanDuel and DraftKings that we talked about on the podcast. And just live prop bets, and the PGA Tour is now taking that on, and other professional sports leagues, and what we have now with NFTs, and even with cryptocurrency and all these other things that are kind of floating around and coalescing and coming together. And one thing I really love about what you're doing here, and perhaps I believe, Tom, you've been patient, and now you're actually pouring a lot of fuel on the gas that you see that the time is right. And this is something I've talked about in entrepreneurship for quite some time with people, and that is about the importance of timing. And sometimes it's just flat out luck. Other times you've managed to see around the corner, to see things coming together and put this together. I was putting together a course in marketing for startups, and this one university I'm teaching a course at. And part of the research I was doing, I stumbled upon this TED Talk with this one VC, this one investor from Silicon Valley, where he compiled all the analytics and the data on what he considered to be the formula or the greatest characteristic for success of everything that he invested in over the last couple of decades and hundreds and thousands of companies. And of course, you've got the team, you've got the idea, you've got the product, your ability to execute it, your ability to get funding. But he's looked at this, and the number one reason for success comes down to timing, whether that's luck or whether that's actually strategic. So I want you to talk about that a little bit, about the timing of what you're doing, perhaps why now as compared to 3 years ago or 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and where that can be in the future. So I wanted to talk about that in your entrepreneurial experience, the value of timing and when that is right, when to really push it hard.
Colin, it's one of the most, it is the most important dynamic or ingredient to manage from start to finish with a startup and moving down that success continuum is timing. But there are two sides that you need to manage at the same time. Number one, competition and what's going on in the industry to make sure that you're executing and putting your product, service, or good out there at the optimal time. But on the other side, I call it going slow to go fast. Making a bad splash is worse than making a late splash, right? And what I mean by that is, if you don't take the time to do a serious market fit, don't do marketing, don't tell a whole bunch of people, don't start advertising to grow your customer base, because if you have a user experience that's going to drive that user away, or you're not going to get the right conversions, you're burning money down the toilet, your investors' money or your own or whatever. So yes, you have to go as quick as you can, but you have to go the best that you can as well. I'm not talking about being perfect, but you have to negotiate with yourself and your team to make sure that the right experience is there, and that you're meeting the timing of the marketplace at the right time as well. So there is some huge finesse in there, but it's something that that needs to be managed. I have made the choice, really and truthfully, to go ultra slower than most. This is our 3rd year in business, and nobody knows we're here yet. We're just starting to come out. Our generation 2 of the app is now released. We released with version 1 for a full year to sort of learn what we didn't know. We've proven our market fit. People want it. I'm getting banged on by other countries to open up in due time, which we will. But again, I want the security, the compliance, and the legality, all of those boxes checked before we expand into those other marketplaces. So I'm kind of at this point in my career, I like to have my ducks in a row and not just be first, right? So that's the direction and the attitude that I've taken at the helm of this company.
Nice. That is such solid nuggets of wisdom that you've just provided for us there, Time. Because a lot of entrepreneurs think, oh, I got to go so fast, and I've got to be this idea of, I've got to, work 24 hours a day, and we've got to be in market so fast, and that also plays into that burnout and that whole mental health piece too. You've got to be able to pace yourself, and you learn that as an entrepreneur over time, because you're probably there like I was back in the early days 7 or 8 years ago with our first endeavors, going too hard, too fast in the wrong directions, and then burning out, or just getting the sequencing wrong, and then worrying too much also about the competition. Oh, we don't want anybody to see this unless they sign an NDA. And you touched on this earlier, Tom, in our podcast conversation, that the ability for you to protect something really is how well can you litigate against it, right? If someone's got the deeper pockets and they really want to do what you're doing, they will do it. So the idea here is like, everybody's really busy. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of time and commitment to do what you're creating with D3 Golf, the ventures that I'm creating also with our company, that people aren't just going to say, oh, we're going to do that too, because it takes a lot. They'd much rather have you succeed. And I'm sure you've already got an exit strategy in mind, Tom, that perhaps you build D3 Golf big enough that then you get acquired by maybe a FanDuel or a DraftKings of the world. I'm sure that's on your mind also. So there's lots of room in the sandbox for everybody to play. And it sounds like you're looking at that having competition is a validator, right? That's a good thing, not a bad thing, right?
It is a good thing. We certainly don't have a direct competitor yet. I'm sure we will at some point. And truthfully, like you just said, I hope we do. It's a validator that the space is correct. And that others want to be here. But to our own credit, we turned down our first acquisition offer last month. So it's exciting time. We've transitioned now, Colin. We actually have a company and a business now. We've made that transition from this was an idea, this was a concept. We had a few customers. We've now reset it. We've recast this new user experience, this new platform on a whole new set of technology that we're using now. We've got strategic partnerships in the works nationwide with some pretty exciting stuff going to be announced first quarter next year. And so we have turned the corner now and actually have a working company now. So it's exciting time. It's a really exciting time.
Nice.
Yeah.
So hey, as we finish up here, because we weren't not able to do this on the podcast, it's only words and sounds and no imagery. So walk us through that user experience. Unfortunately, I'm yet to have that because I'm up here in Canada in Vancouver, and you're not. You're only in the US for the moment. But walk us through that so we can overlay some visuals at the same time to your voice here, Tom. So walk us through. Once I've onboarded, I've downloaded the app and I'm ready to go. And I've got 3 friends that I'm going to play a virtual event, and it could be remote. And you said it doesn't have to be in real time. We could do it over, you play your rounds over time. So walk me through that experience of what it would be like to play a round where we're going to play a Nassau, perhaps a $3 Nassau with 4 of my friends.
Excellent. Perfect. It's our most popular game, that Nassau bet match play. For those that are unfamiliar with it, it doesn't matter what your total score is. It matters on who wins the most holes, whatever that score is. on that any particular hole, that person wins that hole. So he who has the most holes won wins the match on the front, the back, and the overall. There are 3 different bets in the Nassau. So that user experience is split in half in our app, Colin. When you hit the create challenge button that is on the middle of your dashboard, it asks you a few questions to set the game up. It's sort of wizard-like. And the first question we ask you, are you playing locally? Meaning, are you on the same course with your buddies? Or are you playing remotely? You're going to play a course, and the people you challenge are going to play a different course on a different day. Or maybe the same course, but on a different day or time, right? And so once you walk through this wizard, you pick the style of play, you pick the game, you pick the course through location services. We bring the nearest courses to you by location within a 75-mile parameter around yourself. If you can't quickly scroll and find the course you're going to play, you can use the search. We have all 43,000 worldwide courses loaded. Right now, you can only play in the US, so there's just a little over 16,000 courses there. It pulls in the scorecard. It pulls in the slope rating from the tee box you pick. And that's another point. You don't have to play the same tee box. And then the app takes care of the course handicap, setting the course handicap for every player based off of the tee box they're playing. And oh, by the way, you can pick a forward tee based on your sex, right? So there are forward tees for men and women, and there are farther back tees for men and women at every course. So you can pick whichever one that you'd like to play that's appropriate for you, and the app does the math. You play your game, you input your score for every hole. It does the math, determines the winner. It gives the strokes to those players that aren't as good at the game as the others. And at the end of the game, it issues the money to the winners, right? What's cool about this game is it's got its own internal wallet. So the players agree to play for upfront 25 cents, $1, or $1 a hole. Whatever they agree on, all the players have to hit the accept button before the game starts.
Oh, love this, love this. So, hey, why don't we finish up there, because we covered a lot of things on the podcast. And like I said, I do encourage our viewers to become listeners. So down below, they can find the link to our podcast conversation that Tom and I had earlier. So, hey, to finish up here, you've been an entrepreneur for a while, and you really do embrace those characteristics that I see. And I hate the term serial entrepreneur. I like the term successful entrepreneur. And I think you're just on the cusp of big success, but you're already successful in what you're doing here. And it's really great to see, Tom. So can you perhaps provide for our viewers here, those that actually have an idea, they're thinking about entrepreneurship, they don't know where to start, they're a little bit, it's intimidating also, and it's overwhelming. So let's say someone out there has an idea, whether it's in the golf industry or maybe some other sector, whether it's a product, a service, or experience. What advice would you give them that they could take the first step or first couple of steps? What would you suggest that they should do?
So first, right off the bat, is the research, right? Looking at the industry that they want to play in and really research hard what else is out there that may be like and kind or doing the same thing. That's step number one, right? Are you recreating a better mousetrap, or are you creating something that is not there at all? From there, especially in our realm, we had to do a lot of legal work up front. Gosh, what are the barriers legally that I'm going to have to jump over? Do I need licenses? Do I need patents? Do I need, that sort of thing? And then third and finally, I guess I've done this my whole career, which has helped me immensely, is go find someone that has done it before. And I'm not talking about your idea, but someone that's done it before, and get a mentor, right? There are going to be 1,000 decisions you have to make in that first year that you don't know are coming at you. And to have a backboard, a sounding board to be able to quickly and honestly make those decisions will be really, really, really helpful.
It's such great advice there that you provided. So thank you for that. So hey, I will include it down below also. But before we go here, Tom, why don't you let our viewers know where they can learn more about D3 Golf?
I appreciate it. The website is the best place to go, d3golf.com. That's the letter D, the number 3, golf.com, or you can find us on all the social media platforms at D3 Golf app. That's the @ D3 Golf app.
Love it. Love it. So there we have it. Tom Naramore, CEO of d3golf.com. Tom, I'm so glad you reached out to me and that you've shared your entrepreneurial journey with us here today. And hopefully that has inspired our viewers and our listeners out there to take that first step and whatever they're thinking about creating, that they'll make that happen too. It's not an easy journey, but from what you've seen here with Tom, it is very gratifying and it's very fulfilling. And the journey is part of what the experience is. So, hey, Tom, thanks so much for joining me today. And we'll talk to you very soon.
Thanks, Colin, very much. Just a quick plug for you. I'm a 30-year-plus entrepreneur. For any new listeners to Colin's podcast, go through his catalog. It's a master's class in entrepreneurship. You'll get to hear from some of the best out in the business. So thank you for allowing me this chance to talk to you, Colin.
It's been my pleasure, Tom. All right, you take care. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.